So, you probably read the title, you know why we are here. I have finally bought my dream watch at 20 years old. I've been in the agency game for a couple of years, and this specific watch has been on my background in the specific spec, the specific color, the specific bezel, the specific bracelet. Like this exact spec has been on my vision board for 2.5 years. So this is super exciting for me. So let's jump straight into it. Let's do a quick unboxing. Of course, when you buy a Rolex, which this is, you get it in a nice green bag. It looks pretty premium when you're walking around the shopping mall. And of course, you have the standard Rolex packaging. Comes in this cardboard looking box. Then you open it up, and in here you have the actual green watch box. You've probably seen this one before if you have watched any Rolex unboxings or if you have a Rolex of your own. I bought it brand new. It's a 2025 production year. It was actually produced like a month ago. That's pretty cool, but I'm going to get into the purchasing process in just a second. But let's actually look at this beauty. So simple case, nothing, fancy. This is a Rolex after all, not a Richard Mille or a Patek Philippe, though they have slightly cooler unboxing experiences. But point is, here you have the watch. This is a Datejust 36mm reference 126234. I'll throw up some close-up videos of the watch on the screen right now. But what do you actually get when you buy a Rolex? Well, you have the actual watch on this like watch roll type thingy. It's all soft, all supposed to protect the watch. Then inside you have the hang tag, which says Rolex Geneva Superlative Certified. I think this is related to the movement, that the movement has been certified by Rolex or something like that. Of course, you have the links. I have pretty small wrists, so I had to remove a couple of the links, but of course you get the links because the Jubilee bracelet alone is worth like 4 or 5K, so you don't want to lose any parts of it. And then when you open this lid, you have the documents for it. I'm not going to be flashing my serial number, but everything is here. I bought full box, full papers, because of course when you resell it, that gives it a lot more value, but I'm not actually planning on reselling it, which again we'll get to in a second. So super cool. Gotta be carrying this stuff around now because I am traveling all around the world. I've been in Dubai for a couple months. I'm going to Marbella in like 10 days. I only have a hand luggage, so I have a Rimowa cabin, the suitcase. So it does make taking this stuff around a bit more difficult, but I'm excited to actually settle down somewhere and be able to have a collection and have proper watch winders, all of this stuff, because of course this is a mechanical watch. And what that means is that it doesn't have any batteries in it. So for those of you that aren't too into Rolexes, and it charges based off the movement of your wrist. So that's physical components inside moving, and that way charging up the watch basically. And when you don't wear it, of course it's not charging and it will stop. This one has a 70-hour power reserve, I believe. So 70 hours it is going to stop if I don't wear it. So ideally at home you want to have watch winders that are constantly like turning it around and causing that motion to keep it alive. But again, I'm moving around. This is my only watch right now, so I won't really have that issue. The watch I was wearing before is actually a Casio. Let me get it, just a sec. This thing, you've probably seen it on my channel if you have been watching for a while. I've been wearing this in all my videos for like 1.5 to 2 years now. I'm not planning on stopping to wear it. This is still going to be a staple of my, let's say, wardrobe. But the cool thing is that when you only have a Casio, it doesn't really feel special to wear a Casio when you're walking around. But when you know that you have a Rolex at home and you still decide to wear the Casio, that's like the cool part, and you still feel all that confidence because of course this is a status booster in itself. I don't really care about the watch, like it's just a piece of metal, like some gold in it. Of course it has some value based on like the components and stuff, but in itself it has basically zero value to me. The cool part and the reason why everyone buys a Rolex, and if somebody tells you that it's not because of that, they're lying, is of course status. When you walk into a room and you are wearing a Rolex, people look at you differently, you move differently, you radiate a different kind of energy, you are more confident, and it also plays on just your own self-belief, because you will never feel broke when you are wearing 15 grand or your wrist, or 13K, which this one cost. Because of course you can always go, it's super liquid. You can walk into basically any dealer and always get most of your money back. Of course, I bought this one brand new, so I'm not going to get the full price back. And I also bought it off the gray market, which I'm getting to in a second. But still, it's super liquid. You can basically trade it in for cash at any moment, and you're not really tying up your capital in some piece of metal, which is cool. But let's get into the process of how I actually bought it. I have been to a couple of watch dealers, authorized dealers here in Dubai. I was in Dubai back in August of 2024. I put myself on a wait list for this exact watch at Dubai Mall, but I never heard back from them. Of course, when I guess this 19-year-old kid walks in, I was wearing like sweatpants, so I wasn't really looking too premium. And they said, we'll put you on the wait list for the wait list. I never got a confirmation email or nothing like that, so never heard back from them, which I kind of expected. And then like 6-7 months later, we came back to Dubai. Now in March of 2025, I put myself on another wait list at Emirates Mall of Emirates here in Dubai again. And still, again, haven't heard back from them. So I decided, fuck it, like I'm not going to be waiting anymore to get an allocation, and I'm just gonna go and buy it at gray market. The only issue with buying it off someone else and not an official dealer is, of course, the price. So this watch retail goes for about 9k USD, if I'm not mistaken. So as I said, this is the Datejust 36mm with the green dial, the fluted bezel, the Jubilee bracelet. This is one of the, I think, most expensive Datejusts you can find in this exact combo. The green is more difficult to find. The fluted bezel is usually more expensive than the smooth bezel, and the same with the Jubilee bracelet. But Puenes usually goes for like 9k USD. I paid exactly 13k for it. Gray market, that is the market value that I found. So I don't believe that I've overpaid for it. Of course, I've overpaid for it compared to the retail price, but just per market standards, that is a pretty okay rate. And as I said, I can always sell it for, I don't know, 12.5, 12, as long as I keep the box and the papers, because of course that is important when you are dealing in watches. Just having the box and having the papers increases the value of your watch, even though the watch is maybe the exact same thing. When I show people this watch, they usually ask me why this specific spec. I think not a lot of people are big fans of the green color. People usually go for more standard colors like black or gray or white, or I think it's called silver. And I don't really have a good answer. I just saw this specific spec, as I said, like 3 years ago. I fell in love with it and I've just had it on my background ever since. And maybe there are nicer Datejusts out there in terms of combinations of dials and bezels and bracelets, but this specific one has been a dream of mine for such a long time that it's just been like embedded in my mind, and I can't really imagine having any other Datejust than this one. So of course I had to get this specific spec. It's also super versatile. So usually you have like dress watches, you have like sport watches like RMs. I would consider those more as watches made for sports. So jet skiing, all of this stuff. But this one you can kind of do whatever you want with. It is waterproof up to 100 meters, I believe. So I can swim with it. I can run with it. It doesn't look too dressy, it doesn't look too fancy, it doesn't look too shabby. So it's like a perfect watch for basically every single occasion. You can have this with a suit, you can have this with a t-shirt, and it always looks pretty gangster, which I really love about this watch. I don't have to select specific occasions to wear it basically. Why now, you might ask? Why buy a Rolex at this exact point? Has something specific happened? Well, yes, we have a celebration actually. My agency just hit its first 100k month. So our revenue was above 100k, like I think it was 110 or 112k in April. So it was a good time to finally celebrate and buy myself something nice. The most expensive thing so far I have is my MacBook, which is like 3-something-k, I think. I also have a motorcycle actually back in Paraguay, but again, that's like 6k. So I've never actually bought something expensive for myself just to treat myself. So this is my first like serious purchase in my life, first of many. I am into watches. I love just sitting on Chrono or any of these sites and just looking at what's available. I found a couple cool pieces that I want to get over time. But of course, those are up in the like 150, 200k range. So we are still working towards that, but that is on the bucket list and it is coming within the next year, I would say. But point is, we hit 100k with the agency. And of course, you want to reward yourself for hitting milestones, because then you have this drive to continue hitting milestones. If you just have 100k, you hit it, you pass it, you don't really care about it, then you're not going to have that specific memory in your mind, and it's going to be more difficult to get yourself out of bed on days that you don't really feel like working, because you know that there is nothing really to look forward to. Yes, you can maybe look forward to having $1 million a month, but if you don't actually celebrate it in any specific way, you won't really have this internal motivation, because you won't fool yourself, because money is only a tool, and working towards a specific monetary goal doesn't really give you much. You have the money to buy stuff, to experience stuff, and that's the actual value in having money. And that's kind of the reasoning behind having this watch. And also, of course, the status and the liquidity of it. I'd rather have 13K on my wrist than 13K in the bank that I'm not really spending anyways, especially with how the dollar is doing right now. So rather get something physical. It's a nice store of value that I won't really lose much money on it, maybe even gain a little bit, because the watch market is at a pretty low right now. So I do expect the watches overall to go up in price. But of course, this is an entry model, so it won't really see any huge fluctuations. It's not going to double or triple, but as I said, good store of value. And this whole topic of having this watch on my wallpaper and imagining having it for 2.5 years actually leading to having it opens an interesting door into this whole conversation of mindset and achieving stuff. I've always been a big proponent of visualizing what you want in life. I don't believe that affirmations will get you somewhere if you don't actually put in the effort behind it. So I don't really believe in standing in front of the mirror saying you're worth it, you're going to be successful, you're going to be wealthy, because you are just tricking your brain. Like, your brain deep down knows that you aren't the type of person who can achieve such goals. But just having this on your wallpaper and constantly seeing it and imagining what it is going to be like will give you that extra boost of motivation to actually go there. So I'm not saying that just having it on your wallpaper and doing jack shit about it is going to actually give you this watch, but using it as a source of motivation definitely will, which is what I've done, and here we are. I've been into watches for quite a while now. I actually remember myself when I was like 10, 11 years old. My dad told me about his mechanical watch and the fact that it like charges on its own. I thought that was like completely nuts. Like, how is it possible that a mechanic like piece of metal with no batteries, with no electricity in it, actually runs continuously and doesn't really deviate? That's also the like amazing thing about the machinery behind these watches. It is supposed to, I believe, deviate up to 2 seconds per day. So imagine how many rounds a day the second hand is making around the watch every single day. So it's constantly running, it's never stopping, and it's only going to deviate by 2 seconds a day when everything is completely mechanical. So this is not your phone constantly updating from the cloud. It's running as its own little ecosystem, which I find so cool. But also said, I've had this fascination with watches since I was pretty young. So far, I've only had battery watches like this Casio. I've had a couple other Casios. Casio has been my go-to brand so far, but now we are venturing into some cooler stuff. So just the ingenuity required to make this kind of watch really fascinates me, and just listening to it. Actually, yesterday I was just resting my head on my hand and I had the watch on my wrist and I heard some ticking noise. I was like, what is that? Because again, like, I'm not used to a watch actually having like moving parts in it, but if you actually listen to the watch, you will hear the internal movements doing their job and ticking away, which I find really cool. Lastly, how did I get here? Because as you probably know, based on the title, I am 20 years old, so I am pretty young to own a $13,000 watch. And of course, this is not going to be my last watch this year at all. I am going to have some more expensive watches, but point is, how do you actually get here if you are young like me? Well, I have been hustling for close to 8 years now. I've tried basically every single business model online that you can imagine. I've tried dropshipping, I've tried running Minecraft servers, I had an NFT project, I've been a freelancer on Fiverr. So basically every single way of making money online, I have tried it. And then in about 2022, this whole craze with social media marketing agency started. So running an SMMA. The success of that industry is usually attributed to Iman Gadzhi, like the main guru in the space. And at that time, I found it interesting because I was just jumping business models every couple of months. Every time I found something that was a little more interesting, I would just drop whatever I was doing and try this new thing. But this time I had actually matured a little. I was 17 at that time and decided for myself that I will give this business model 3 years of my life. I will work on it every single day, 8 to 12 hours a day, no breaks, no weekends. And if I don't succeed within 3 years, so if I've done this for 3 years and I still don't earn any money from it, I still don't have any success, I will allow myself to try something else. And what do you know, within 6 months, we'd already hit our first 10K month, actually 4 months, then 6 months to our first 50K month. And now we, as I said earlier in the video, have hit 100K a month. So that's been like the biggest deciding factor in me achieving this, you can call it success at this young age, just deciding to do something consistently. I believe that basically every single business model out there is viable and you can earn money with it. You can earn money in affiliate marketing. You can earn money in, I don't know, OnlyFans management, social media marketing agencies, drop shipping. All of these are valid business models because you are selling something. There is always demand, but it's all up to you and your personal effort, how much time and energy you are willing to put into it, or if you're just going to be jumping business models and chasing the next shiny object every other week, the way I was doing in the beginning. So my quick piece of advice to you, if you want to achieve the success I have, I don't really consider it success. I think I'm still at the beginning stages of running a business, but let's call it success. If you want to achieve the kind of success that I have, it's all about your personal efforts and how much you know. So investing in your personal knowledge. I don't know how many hundreds of books I've bought, tens and tens, maybe hundreds of coaching hours from other people. I've bought every single course out there you can imagine. I've invested so much money and so much of my energy into developing my skills and developing my knowledge. And again, I recommend that you do the same if you are running a social media marketing agency, specifically for eCom brands. I am posting YouTube videos on how to scale that. So feel free to check out my channel. I will guide you on how I scaled my own eCom paid ads agency from 10K a month to 50K a month, as I said, in 6 months. So if that's interesting, check it out. Other than that, thank you for watching. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you at the top.